We like to start every episode with the disclaimer that we are not professionals. Our conversations are solely based on our personal experiences, thoughts, and opinions. Nothing discussed here is meant to be taken as professional mental health or medical advice. If you have questions or need assistance, please seek the help of a licensed professional.
Discussions in this podcast may sometimes revolve around heavy material such as abuse, grooming, religious trauma, and more. Please listen with caution and prioritize your mental health first.
Welcome to Trauma Bondage,
the podcast where we talk about trauma, kinks, and non-traditional lifestyles and relationships from a queer lens.
We're your hosts,
Brigitte
and Beth.
Hello, my loves. It's been a year. Welcome back to Trauma Bondage.
Yay, we're back. I bet you bitches never thought we'd come back.
Oh, no. We've had a lot of people asking. They're like, is it still coming? Is it still coming? Yeah. Yes. We came for you.
We came for you. We just made you wait for it because we love edging.
Oh, yes. We just edged you into oblivion, but we're back.
We are back.
And we've got some fun stuff for you this season. So.
We really do. Well, let's preface all this by saying, like, we are super excited to be back and greatness, you just can't rush it, right? Like, good things take time.
Also, we've had, like, some life live this year.
Yeah.
And we're going to share all of that with you.
Yes. We are overshares chronically.
Yes.
So we are going to kind of, in today's episode, we don't necessarily have like a topic we're going to cover. We're more just going to give you updates on our lives, like what we've been doing, where we've been at, polyamory updates, and also like give you a little teaser for what we're going to be covering this season. So you guys know what you're in for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
I guess this season, just to give you kind of a rundown of what's coming, is some dom-sub dynamics and new kinks or things that we've learned about ourselves within our polyamorous nonsense. And, God, what else?
Jealousy. We're going to dive into jealousy.
We got a lot of tea.
We're gonna like have a little sidestep this season into some like non-kink related and non-poly related things, more trauma related things.
More trauma.
But like on the funnier side, we're gonna be spilling some tea. We're gonna be talking about like relationships in general, because I feel like this whole podcast is really just about relationships. So we're going to talk about those dynamics outside of like romantic and sexual relationships, some friendships, some family. We're going to dive into the history of kink, which is going to be really super fun. I'm so excited for that. I know I'm going to learn stuff in that episode too.
Yeah. Seduction archetypes. Maybe touch on religion a little here and there.
As we
I'm
do.
sure it'll make a guest appearance. We've got some really great guests. Speaking
Amazing
of guest appearances, we have some amazing people to listen to. So please stay tuned for those. And, you know, we've got sexuality therapists and photographers
and
actors and other podcasters and all kinds of fun people coming on. So
yeah,
we got some fun stuff.
We're also in a new space, new energy. We cleansed our energy and little life update. My wife and I moved in together, which is always fun to live with your partner. So now we have a new studio space, and it's just going to bring like a little more life, I think. Yeah. To what we're doing. So we're super excited.
Fuck yeah.
Cool.
Well, life updates. I guess towards the end of last year, football season. Woohoo.
Rah-rah.
Rah-rah. So
isn't that what they say?
I don't fucking know. I'm not there.
So you don't know. I don't know.
I'm there for the wifey. She's a football
Yeah.
season, doing my silly little thing on TikTok and just posting my silly little content as I do, which is like not anything fun. It's literally just for me being dumb. And I guess this came across the Farmers For You page, and she commented on it and then slid into my DMs, and we started talking, and we have essentially been together for an entire year.
A year.
For that point. It's an interesting thing. So had a new partner there at mid last year, and it's been going a year. It's an interesting thing because she is a thoroughbred blue collar worker.
Your type.
Very much my type. I love a good yeehaw. Yeah. Small town, homegrown woman, a mask woman especially. But so I don't get to see her a whole lot, which is tough, but also it kind of works out for the dynamic that I have going right now. So we've been together for a while. She's great. She's lovely. And then around football season, I met Baby Gay. So I also had a third partner during that time frame. Wife is also doing well. She's great. She's living life, being cool, doing great things.
We love her.
Yeah, just lovely human. But Baby Gay, I want to give a shout out to Baby Gay because
we love Baby Gay.
We were only in a relationship for, I would say, like 3-ish months.
Yeah.
And the rundown of that is we met at a Chiefs football game in Kansas City. She was sitting right next to me. She was drunk off of her fucking ass and somehow had the ability in her drunken stupor to be able to speak to me, but like didn't know that I was flirting with her the whole time during the game. Like, I bought this girl a beer and I was like, oh, hey, like, you want me to buy you a beer? I'm going to go get another one for myself. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like expecting her to like come with me.
Yeah.
She fucking stayed in the seat. I was just like, oh, okay, I'll just come serve you. She's going to listen to this and be like, oh my God, I'm so dumb.
Yeah.
She is an angel. She's such a sweet human being. We are no longer together, but we were together for that 3-month time period. And she is just one of the good ones.
Yeah.
Like really, really one of the good ones. The reason we split is because I came to the realization that, one, she clearly is more of a monogamous human being.
Yeah.
I will say polyamory was very easy for her to slide into because she's really not a deeply jealous person. Like, she trusts that you have good intention, as you should, and that like you care, and she's kind of one of those like, I'll take what I can get. Like, I'm happy to. But I didn't want to be that kind of lesson, if you will.
Right.
I didn't want her to get to a point where she was willing to sacrifice a lot for a little, me being the little, when she deserves so much more.
Which is really, like, good on you and, like, good on your awareness of the situation, especially with somebody that's newly out. Like, a lot of times, like you said, it's like, you're just so excited when you come out to be with a woman that you're like, I'll do anything. Not knowing that, like, eventually it might not be, like,
and
enough.
she is. She's very gay. She's been out for, like, maybe a year and a half at this point. Which is really awesome. It's great. She's still navigating that and what that looks like with family and stuff like that, but she's so solidly in like who she is. Like, she knows who she is. She has a very good established career. She owns her house. She has her dog. She lives her life, and she's brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely adore her. Like, the love that I have for her runs so deep. Like, and that's why we split, is because like I care so much that I want her to have more than I'm able to offer her. And I'm okay with that if I get to at least be like in her life in some capacity, and we're good with that. So we're in a great place. We're good friends. We talk all the time.
She's amazing.
Sweetheart.
Sweetie.
So my friends, especially in like the Kansas City area, if you're looking for a wife, I have one for you.
We have a wife for you.
She is the epitome of a golden retriever mask, has got her shit together, wants to have a partner that she can build a life with and provide for, and just dote on. She's one of those people where it's like, if it's you, like, she's in on you. Yeah. And she's loyal to a T. Like, she's got every good fucking quality. Her only thing is, she just can't fucking talk to girls.
She's a little shy.
Baby gay?
Which we understand.
My dear Sarah. Yeah, she's it's not that she's shy. She's actually a very like personable, outgoing, talkative. Like, once you get to know her, you've only met her in like short, like small settings. She gay panics to the point where words no longer exist. Yeah. She was telling me a story about how like she met a girl at like at a concert. Like, she was cute and she like walked with her and stuff like that. And she was like, oh, I'm gonna get a beer. And they just like walked in silence. And I was like, you didn't ask her name? Like, just common human normalcy. Like, what's your name? What are you, like, are you from around here? Did you travel in to see the concert? What do you do for a living? Like, anything. Yeah. Nothing. Just silence.
She just panicked a little bit. Which is okay. It just means she loves women, and we love that.
And then word vomited all at me because that. Yeah. So she's building her queer community. She's joined softball teams. Like, she's doing all of that. So, ladies, DM me. I will give you her number. Because, oh my God, she's great. Yeah. Like, can't toot her horn enough. Yeah. Lovely. So we were together for a short period of time. Between the realization of that and also learning more about myself, is that like I can do multiple relationships, but I fixate quite a bit. I get a little obsessive, and I'm okay with that because I also want them to be a little obsessive with me. But like managing two like full time for me is about where I feel most comfortable at. When it comes to full-blown, like, deep emotional connection. And I'm very, very demi, so that's where I think that comes into play. I could do some, like, physical dalliances separately, as long as it's not, like, a really close connection, maintaining conversation, like, building together long-term. I get overwhelmed because I'm doing like a million fucking things in my life. And
Yeah,
I like to
you're
focus
busy,
on
too.
that. And I can't like, I start feeling like a bad partner when I feel like I'm only able to give somebody so much when I know they need more, etc. The thing with Baby Gay is we were also 8-hour long distance. Like that was hard. Yeah. It's hard to maintain.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
So relationship wise, that's still going strong with my farmer. I should call her Farmer Joe. Farmer Mo.
Yeah, no, literally.
Yeah, it's just been really, really interesting. I clearly have a type because all of these girls are very mask.
I'm also going to put it out there that they all look similar.
Yeah, they do.
They do look very similar.
They do. It's so funny because like my wife and Baby Gay are like, they've kind of cultivated a friendship. They met, like literally my wife was standing next to me as I was like flirting with the Baby Gay, the thing. And she was just like, oh my God. And they, like, I went to get beer and I came back and they were bonding over like pants and like hats. And like they have the same style and like wear the same clothes. And like Baby Gay will be like, oh, I just bought like these pants and they're the most comfortable thing. Like you should tell Jen.
That's so great. I love it.
And I'm like, oh my God, like y'all are the same
friends.
and it's creepy. Like they really are so very similar. It's unreal.
At least you know you're consistent, you know?
I am.
Yeah.
I am. I've also learned that I very much have to have partners that are intelligent.
It's a little bit of your sapio coming out.
To keep me interested. That's the thing is that like, I don't consider myself somebody like you, Gemini, who like, you're like, I get bored easy. I get bored easy with some things, but like, it takes me a while. Like I can, like, I enjoy like doing the digging and like wiping away the layers and just living in it for a while. But what gets me is like, I need somebody who's smart. Baby Gay, smart as a whip. Like she's God, what kind of engineer? Mechanical engineer, I want to say. Yeah, mechanical engineer. She was sending me, like, she was going to, like, nuclear testing sites where they were, like, blowing stuff up and stuff. Like, it was really cool. Like, and we would talk about that and we can keep up with each other in conversation. And I never really felt like I had to explain anything and vice versa. And it was nice. I've had former relationships that told me they were like, can you dumb it down for me? Because I don't know what you're talking about. And, like, I don't mind doing that. But it just, over time, it's kind of like, yeah. Like I just wish you were up here with me and I could just banter and never have to stop. Right. Same with Farmer Mo, business owner, ex-Marine, did all of that. Like just smart as a whip in a lot of ways. She'll say no. She'll be like, no, I'm not that smart. And I'm like, but you have to be able to run a business and run it well. Yeah. You just have different skill sets. A lot of your skill sets rely on like manual labor and like skilled labor. And I can't do any of that. Yeah, like exactly. I can't do any of that. It's a valuable skill. And there are things that like, but like technology evades her, and I'm good at that. So like we have our skills that really like work out nicely. Where she's like, "Oh, you're brilliant at this," and I'm like, "You're brilliant at this." Yeah, I'm not. You're not at that. Like we're smart in our own right. So that conversation is good. God, what else in life? I'm trying to think.
Job.
Oh, yeah. I'm waiting. Job. I'm like, what has happened this year? It's all flown by so quickly. Yeah, I recently got promoted at my job, which is really exciting. I just started that recently. And I'm moving from like HR to conferences, essentially. So I'm getting to do some like planning and doing content around that, which is super fun. And I'm getting to talk to some really cool people and make some good connections. My new team is just the bee's knees. Like they are honestly excellent people. I had a concern when I started because I was like, oh, I'm going to be working with some pretty high level people. Like, am I going to have to take my nose ring out? Am I going to have to cover up my tattoos? Stuff like that. Because that is something when you're in the corporate world, like you do think about that because society for so long has been like, you won't get a job if you have tattoos or piercings or anything like that. And this group, they're like, oh no, like they're not here for our face and like
they don't care
fucking body. Like they're here for the content. So like they don't care. I get to be who I want to be. I don't have to dress any certain type of way for these people. Like I get to really live in that, and I'm going to get to do a little more travel, which means more solo travel, which was a goal of mine this year.
You're thriving.
I do. I feel like things are really good. Aside from the fact that a brick hit my fucking windshield, everything was going too well. Something bad had to happen. Brick, windshield, didn't die. It's fine. But like,
you're still here.
But I'm here. I have a shattered windshield, but I'm here. So like that was really exciting. I'm trying to think about, I was recently in a show again, getting to sing, and let me tell you, that show. So I do musical theater. For those of you who don't know, that's what my degree is in, is music and acting and singing and being on the stage. And I work with this really awesome director. She works on building up new musical works, really empowering women, especially, and LGBTQ community, non-binary writers to write great musical works that also are inclusive, not just from a race standpoint or a sexuality standpoint, but also body type and stuff like that. And in the industry, it's really, really hard to see that much diversity. So she's really cultivating that in a beautiful way. So I get to be part of these festivals where these writers come. It's essentially a conference, and they come and they do all these workshops and keynote speakers and all of that good stuff. And then they get to see their work performed, sometime for the first time. Sometimes it might be the only time that they ever see it performed, but they get to see it. They see how jokes hit, producers come, they get to network and mingle and make connections and maybe get their work produced or workshopped somewhere else. It's really cool. It's really fun. And I got to be in this show recently, and I was part of this spotlight musical and got to meet the writer, and it was just such a beautiful experience. But it was also, for the first time, I don't know if I mentioned this last season at all, but I always felt like my mom stole my dream when she stole all of my money to go to New York.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
And she kind of she soured it for me. Like it didn't feel good. And all these years, it's just kind of been like, ugh. And there was something about this time around that just clicked for me.
Did it light the fire back for you?
It did.
Yeah.
It honestly, I think it's been a combination of different things. I've progressed in my career. I went to this team where my leader was like, oh yeah, we're super supportive of the arts. If you ever get a national tour or go to Broadway, I'll help you fill out the paperwork to have leave so your job will be here when you come back a year later. Stuff like that. I was like, oh my God. I'm also, I work remotely. I'm going to be traveling a bit, which means if I'm in New York, I can extend my trip and go audition for a while. My wife is so wonderful to the point where we've talked about do we want to move? Where would we move to? Would we be comfortable with living apart for short stints of time? Especially after this festival that I did where I was like, God, I miss singing. I miss performing. Maybe I do need to revisit that original dream a little bit, because I feel like I'm coming to a precipice in my life where the options are starting to become a little more endless. I have these really big goals that I'm working towards and moving towards that they might be 7 years out, but they're these really cool things that I want to do. And I'll share with those more as they come to fruition as they come. But I'm doing all these fun things and creative things and things that bring me joy, as opposed to just climbing a ladder or doing whatever. I'm happy with everything I'm doing. And I was like, that needs to come back. Yeah. Because that is the spark for me. That is the reason for all of it to begin with. And I'd like to try. I may never get on Broadway, but I feel like I at least owe myself.
You owe yourself
the chance
trying.
to try.
Yeah.
So I've got writers from that thing that were really fascinated and really enjoyed my voice. And afterwards they're like, my God, we heard other people's writing and we want to write something. It'd be amazing if you'd sing it. I'm like, please send it to me. I'd be happy to. I'd be happy to. So the networking aspect, it's just kind of rekindled that interest. And things are good right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I remember texting you the day after, and the way that you were speaking about it, I could tell that you were just very much fuck, this is why I did this for so long. This is what I love. And I think if you have a passion that you are born with to do a certain thing and then a gift to do that thing on top of it, it's there's a part of you that's always going to feel maybe something's a little bit missing when you're not doing it.
Oh yeah, I've always felt like that.
So I'm really happy for you that you were able to do that, feel that spark again, and then now it's the possibilities are endless.
It does feel like that. I feel in a very good place right now. And even Jen mentioned that. She was for the first time you were going to rehearsals and you never said oh, I really don't want to go to rehearsal tonight. Every night I was I'm excited to go sing. I'm excited to go be with these people and work with these people and have a good time. And that meant a lot to me. Yeah. I'm still coming to terms with it, because that was literally a couple weeks ago, and I'm just kind of things feel so good. I feel only a little bit overwhelmed because even with my new job, I'm learning so much stuff and I'm cramming all this shit into my brain. Yeah. And I'm navigating a relationship and still trying to learn a lot about someone that I've been with for a year. But I don't really know her because I haven't gotten to spend the time that I'd like to spend. So we're getting there. We're on our way. That's supposed to be coming in near future. So fingers crossed there. But I don't know. I feel very balanced for the first time in a really long time. Yeah. And I feel the beginning of this year was kind of like a lot of tumult with personal things and personal life and overwhelm and just exhaustion.
Yeah.
The fatigue has been real this year.
Yeah, for all of us, literally. Like, we've all been tired bitches. A
big thing has been focused on health, too, because mine's been, fluxy. But, like, I feel like right now, in this moment, we could get 3 months from now and I'll be like, everything's awful and I want to die. But, like, more trauma. But, like, right now, I feel the most, like, grounded that I've been in a long time. I feel the most inspired. I feel the most supported. Like, I have a good support system. I feel very loved. And I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
all
that.
Good.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah. Minus the brick. The brick can go fuck itself.
The brick is just trying to throw you off.
Literally.
It's trying to make you think.
But also, like, I take that and I'm like, you know what, though? Like, Jen has a coworker who said his buddy will do it for, like, at cost. So, like, if I replace my windshield, it's not going to cost me $800. It's going to cost me, like, $150.
Right.
So, like, silver linings.
I was going to say, silver linings. The blessings come.
Yeah. And I need to fix my back window. It looks like somebody took a freaking golf bat. It
looks like you have an enemy.
Sarah, do not crucify me for that. She plays golf and I just said golf bat and
golf bat?
Yes.
Can you imagine?
Club.
What would that look
it's a golf club. It looks like somebody took a golf club to my car. It's like somebody got really mad at me and just, oh my God. I'm never going to hear the end of that now. We'll keep it in just for you. You're welcome, dear.
A golf bat.
Yeah, baby gay. She's a golfer, like hardcore. I'm never going to hear the end of it.
I was going to say, sometimes things come out of your mouth that I'm like, oh, that was one of them. Golf bat.
Golf bat.
It's okay. Well, I'm so happy for you. And
you.
I mean, I've been here for like a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
But
you've known all this.
I've known all of it. But to see you like where you are now versus where you were even like a year before, you seem like you are, number one, happier and also more just like settled in a lot of areas.
Yeah.
And like, I think that you're on the verge of like, turning a lot of new chapters and have started turning those chapters already.
One way or another. Yes.
Yep.
There's some relationship stuff there with the polyamory that I'm still trying to navigate because it's,
as you always do. I mean, I think it's never always smooth sailing with polyamory.
I will say though, like I'm very fortunate, like Farmer Mo, this partner is also very, very even keel, does not get jealous. Like I'm not having to deal. That's what I was dealing with before in my previous relationship in polyamory was like a lot of insecurity, a lot of deep-seated jealousy. And that was kind of what took its toll on the relationship because I was trying to navigate managing their jealousy instead of them managing their jealousy.
Yeah, you become like a momager.
Yes, literally. I felt like a momager. But like I also like it made me feel awful as a human being because I was like, I'm causing you to feel this way. But like it's out of my control. I was communicative about like what I can offer. In this scenario, it's like all's good. Nobody's freaking out. Nobody's having a meltdown. We're just existing and cultivating relationships in the ways that they're being cultivated.
Yeah.
I will say my current dynamic is very like parallel. Jen has never really been all that interested in being like friends. She tried originally and it just wasn't good, like healthy for her mental health. She had a hard time with it. So we've established that parallel is probably the better option to go. Yeah. Which that's something we'll be talking about later on in the season is like the different types of parallel or not of polyamorous like relationship dynamics.
Yeah.
But we're very parallel and so I have, one partner and that's it. So.
Oh,
yeah.
I love it.
Tell me your shit because you've had a lot this year.
Jesus Christ.
It has been a lot for you.
This year has like truly been the hardest year of my entire life, I will say. Like, mainly because, like, I've come to terms with the just absolute duality of existence and how you can be having the best things that have ever happened to you happen, while the worst things that have ever happened to you are happening at the same time. So, a lot of you guys know, I mean, like, I've been with my wife for a year and a half. Our relationship is incredible.
Did they know you got married?
I got married.
Gosh, she got married.
Okay, well, we'll start there.
That happened.
I got married.
I think that happened after we ended the season.
It did. It happened in December.
Oh my God.
Yeah. All right. Well, I got married. That was my girlfriend in last season. Now it's my wife. So again, like super positive things. We dealt with navigating our first polyamorous relationship and like that, you know, I try to be as open as I can on this podcast about like the struggles behind that too. And like that was a very difficult time for us because it was my wife's first time being in an actual poly dynamic, not an E&M dynamic where it's just sexual, but it was like, I had another partner.
Emotions and sharing, like the deep-seated sharing.
Yes, I was, you know, I was actually dating a whole other human outside of my wife, and I also was dating them around the same time frame as I was getting married.
And around the same time frame as you had a lot of personal things that were happening, and you were navigating those emotions and grief and all kinds of stuff.
And I'll say, you know, like the relationship with this other person, like on my end, did not start in the best way. So like that made it a lot harder for my wife to kind of like come to terms with the relationship. And I won't get into the whole thing just for everyone's privacy, but like it was very difficult. But I will say, like, we learned so much about each other and communication and like what we want and what we don't want and setting boundaries. And like we had all the hard conversations and navigated that like so beautifully, I think, with each other. And like all it did was like bring us back together so much more strong.
Oh yeah.
Like you
guys are like a force to be reckoned with.
100%. We are like
a strong front.
We really are. And like, I genuinely feel like so unshakable in my love and like dedication to this person that I'm like, anyone that tries to like mess with it, like I clock it immediately and I'm like,
nope,
out.
Yep.
Out. So it was like, you know, every relationship, especially when it's a new relationship, you're learning like what somebody is like when things are really hard. And like at the same time as I was navigating this new poly dynamic and like this relationship with my wife, I was also going through the emotions of losing a sibling. A lot of you guys know, like my brother was diagnosed with terminal cancer about a year ago. And so I was kind of like the last half of the year, like on pins and needles, basically just waiting for, you know, a timeline, basically. Like we didn't have a timeline for a long time. So I did lose my brother this year. And that was by far the hardest thing that I've ever been through. And I'm still going through. Like grief is not linear. Grief is not like something that happens and then goes away. Grief stays with you for your entire life. So I'm still very much being like affected by that loss. And I lost friendships this year. I lost like,
boy,
we're going to talk about that in future episodes. I lost like what I thought was going to be a friendship in the future with somebody that I used to be with. Like you know, that person is no longer involved in my life at all. So like, I don't know how I forgot this. We're going to talk about this a little bit more too, but I completely cut contact with my mother this year.
Oh yeah.
That happened in January too. Or maybe a little bit later. Completely cut contact with my mom and went low contact with my dad only because of my mom's proximity to him. So I went through a lot of family turmoil this year, and the bulk of it was happening, you know, within the 2 weeks that my brother passed. I cut off my mother in that time frame, and you know, there was a lot of like nuances that again we'll talk about. But so yeah, it was like all of that negativity was happening, but I also felt like grateful in some way because the universe has a way of like shoving lessons down your throat if you're somebody that like really just keeps repeating the same
just
pattern.
Likes to deep throat you.
Literally, the universe was like, you like deep throating? Here you go.
Here you go.
We're gonna do this over and over and over until you fucking get the point. Setting like number one, I learned this year to protect my energy.
Oh boy.
Protect my peace and to hold the people close that are genuinely people I can see being in my life for the rest of my life. And that has been hard because like I'm somebody that's used to like giving energy to every person that wants it, because I feel like in some way like they're owed that. And like now I'm very much like, no.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. I'm like, nope, that's not happening.
You've learned like a whole lifetime of life lessons in like half of a year.
Literally
year,
6 months. Yeah. Like. It's been great.
Yeah.
I'm doing great. I'm not losing hair or anything. Well, I gained a lot of hair. I don't know if y'all also noticed that.
If you're watching.
I got to weave. I was like, it's time to like switch it up. Like we gotta do something. So
you literally, you got extensions.
Yeah.
You got married.
And
you moved.
I moved. Yeah, my wife and I moved in together, as I
Yeah.
mentioned earlier.
So cute. It's such a cute place.
Done a lot of traveling. We've been going back and forth to LA a lot this year. We are fucking in love with it. We'll probably eventually move there, and it's a sore subject with Bridget.
I'm so mad about it.
You know, Texas is great, but I think it's run its course for us for a while.
I don't blame you there, because I'm in the same boat. Like, I don't intend to stay.
We're not going to be here for forever. No. Can I also brag on my wife for a second? Because the level of growth that they have had when it comes to their music career in the last year is insane. Like,
it's amazing.
Astonishing. I have been
even.
Just sitting back as like wifey on the sidelines, watching them like build a huge platform, build like notoriety in like the local Dallas music scene, work their ass off to be at open mics, get booked at like Sue's, and like get booked at bigger and bigger shows with bigger and bigger artists, and like they're on a trajectory that like is so exciting for them. They're kicking ass. Yeah. So I've also, again, like to the point of duality, like I've been watching that happen too. And it's been fucking amazing.
Our wives are doing things. Like, obviously my wife is not over here being a rock star, because like she can't hold a tune to save her life. Sorry, honey.
Not everyone can be.
but like she's also like, her thing has been like, she's been in therapy regularly. I have seen so much self-growth just alone, and like her ability to communicate has improved. Her mindset's better. She's focused on her health, because she like spirals and stuff like that, and will like stop it, and like she's really focusing on that. Her career path, like she's really trying to level up in ways this year. So like it's really nice to see them. It's just beautiful. Like, and they're doing it on their own.
Yeah.
Like,
no, that's,
I feel like you and I have done the same thing in the past, where it's like, oh, we have a partner, and we're like, we put them on a pedestal and put ourselves on the back burner to boost them. I think we're both in a place where we have partners that are like, we're just there to be there. Like,
moral support.
I have a partner who is doing their thing. I also have another partner who's doing their thing, and I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
And we're growing together. Yeah. And apart.
Exactly.
In our own rights.
Well,
and they've been doing amazing. Nikki's just killing it.
They really are. And it's beautiful to like be with somebody that like has such a fierce sense of who they are themselves, that like I'm not pushing them out to do things. They
just do it.
Are the type of person that like they do it themselves. They take initiative. They're a very hard worker. Like, you know, I think what I've struggled with in past relationships is feeling like I was the only one like doing and like progressing and building and growing and learning, and everybody else just wanted to stay in the spot they were in. And like my wife is not like that at all. They are very like, what else can we do? How can we level up in this way? How can we improve? Yeah.
I will say that's something I've always really admired about them, is their sense of self. Wow, Bridget. And sense of self and identity. Like they know who they are. And my God, I wish at that age that I knew, like that I had the confidence and like just the settling. God, I wish I had that
at 24.
I wish I had that at 24. I was a fucking wreck at 24.
I wasn't even out at 24.
I don't know what the fuck was going on.
I don't know.
I was not dealing with my trauma well.
No.
I was depressed as shit.
Yeah.
Jennifer was feeding me. I was going through it, and I didn't know who the fuck I was and what I wanted to do. Or if you told me I was here back then,
you wouldn't have believed it.
I don't even know what I would have done. Yeah. I think I would have just self-imploded at that point. Because I wouldn't have, like, there's no way in hell.
I felt the same way at 24. I think, like, you know, I think it's normal when you're in your early 20s to just like lack direction and not really know what you want to do, and like have just kind of like, you're still building your sense of self. But again, that's why they already have it. And that is why we're together, because like when I met them, regardless of the age gap, like they already had that established. And I've dated many people older than me.
When you first met, they were like what? They were like 22. And you told me that, and I was like, but the frontal lobe.
Yeah.
But the frontal lobe.
I always make jokes that I was going to wait to marry them until it was fully developed, so they could give full frontal lobe consent.
They have since changed my mind on that.
Yeah. So. I was like, you just have to meet them to understand. Like, I know the whole thing about an old soul, but it's like, you know, really.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, watching them grow has been amazing. I had my first childbirth watching. I don't know how to say that.
What?
I watched my sister give birth. I'll say it that way.
Oh. Really? Like, sorry, I don't even, like, if I had children, because I know you don't want kids.
No.
I dabble with the thought. because I think I do, but
Yeah.
I think I need to get to certain points in my life to get there, which I have time. I'm young, but like I don't want anything coming out of my canal.
I'll say that it was
cut me open.
It was definitely an experience that like led me to solidify my not giving birth decision.
I was wondering.
Watching my sister in labor for like 11 hours was like
no, thank you.
But let me just brag on my sister for a second. This fucking bitch is the toughest bitch with the best attitude. Like, she didn't cry. She didn't complain. She literally didn't even have an epidural until they told her she had to get the baby out.
Oh, give me
She
drugs.
was going through 9 hours of labor with a smile on her face.
Fuck no.
Insane.
Give me
She's
drugs.
insane.
I want drugs
I
immediately.
was like watching her. I was like, why aren't you screaming at anybody?
You'll be there when I have kids. You don't have to watch it come out.
I'm fine
but
with watching it.
You're gonna go like
I will
hold some doctors by the balls and be like, give her
drugs.
immediately.
No, I will. You know, I love holding people by the balls and making them do things. Anyway, so had a niece born, and I feel like just personally, I am on a spiritual journey right now. Which, you know, some of that to me, I'm keeping private and like really is between like my wife and literally I've told you and my wife very certain things and nobody else. But like I have been, you know, I went through a period that we talked about in last season of like deconstruction, and then I was an atheist or agnostic, and like now I'm on this very like personal spiritual journey with a type of spiritual practice that speaks to me the most. And that was demonized by like my church growing up.
Of
and
course.
Like, you know, it was very much like an off limits thing, but it's always a spiritual practice that is called to me. And like, I had an experience recently with somebody that like solidified, like, you need to be
doing this
because like you have this in you. I'm reading you right now and like I'm telling you that you need to be doing this. So that's been super exciting. It's been really scary because like once you kind of turn that on, like you start experiencing things even more in a real way that like, you know, so not everything's explainable, but like I'm definitely going through a journey of like learning and growing and like trying to be open and not scared of things, because a lot of this has to do with me wanting to like connect with my brother too. Like trying to like figure out like how to connect with him still and his spirit when his body is not here.
So interesting. I think spirituality is playing a big theme in this year for a lot of us, because I've been told the same thing, and honestly you've been telling me about your journey. I'm like, man, maybe I need to like, because I've been told that years ago, and for me I've always just kind of been like,
Yeah.
My dad told me a story this year where he was like, I left organized religion at the age of 5 because they didn't want to sing Davy Crockett and the Wild Frontier when they asked us what we wanted to sing. Right? Like, and he was just like, fuck that nonsense, and literally like walked home from church at 5.
The man knew where his boundary was and stood at Davy Crockett.
Like, and I am my father's daughter, so I'm just kind of like, oh, whatever. But I had been told that years and years and years ago that that's because psychic conventions were the thing, and you're doing your thing. And I'm like, man, I told you, I was like, that was calling to me the other day. Maybe I need to pay attention to it. And even with baby Gay, like one of her things is navigating her relationship with the church. Yeah. Because they've like her own pastor has told her that like they don't really like they don't affirm her there. Yeah. So it's like why do I want to go somewhere where I'm not accepted? Yeah. And so she's struggling with that, and like, do I still really have the faith, or like how do I want to be a person of faith? Yeah. It's a whole like you can be a Christian and still be gay kind of thing like that, and trying to figure that out. So
yeah, it's hard because it's like there are so many brands of spirituality out there, and like honestly my belief over the last year has really become that like there isn't necessarily one right way to practice spirituality if that's something you want to do, as long as it is something that you're doing with integrity and something that you're not forcing on other people.
It's for you.
And doesn't rely on bigotry to be upheld. Yeah. Right.
Read between the lines.
Read between the lines.
Well, that's the thing, is that like religion, spirituality, whatever you want to call it, is for you. Yeah. It is literally your relationship.
It's your relationship. I think it's so private. With whatever
you want to have a relationship with.
Yeah.
And that is it.
Yeah.
It does not go beyond that. Yeah. The second it goes beyond that, you're starting to serve more than just that.
I think the second that it starts to like have to become something that you have in common with every person in your life, or else you shut people out. It's like, okay, that's a problem. Because to me, it's like such a personal, private practice, which is why I'm like not saying much about like what I'm discovering, because like I don't really think anybody needs to know outside of like my close circle. But it's like, it is something that has been really healing for me and validating, because there are things that I have felt within myself my entire life that I have like repressed and like gaslit myself into thinking that like don't exist, or like I'm not actually experiencing this, or like honestly I think power that I have that I haven't tapped into because I was scared or because I was raised like with a certain type of religion. And so I'm kind of just like pulling all of like the curtains off of that now and like seeing what's under them, and it's been really cool. It's been a little scary, but it's been really cool. So
you're leveling up.
We're leveling up. We're on a journey.
We're Pokemon.
We're super excited about this season because we are going to be doing a lot more like, I think we did a lot of like high level topics for you guys last season that like, it was like more of an introduction to like, the things that we like to discuss. And this season, because of like, I think the growth that we've had and the experiences that we've had, even within kink, like we've done a lot of exploration with that. Like, since last season, we're going to be going deeper into things. And like, I feel like that's like the theme. Going deeper is the theme of season 2.
The number of times I say those words.
Yeah. Side eye, bombastic side eye.
That's a lot.
But yeah, that's what I've been doing. That's what we've been doing.
I feel like even with all of the hard stuff, there's been a lot of good.
There has
this year.
Yeah,
because like the beginning of this year was tough for you.
Yeah, for
relationships and friendships and everything that was going along.
Tumultuous, and
also just like being in that world. Like it's just tough. It was a tough time to navigate, but I feel like I feel like everything. It's like evening out.
Yeah.
And it's like sure. It's like okay, here all the rubble has like stopped moving. The avalanche has stopped. We have dug ourselves out of the snow.
Yeah.
And now it's like this beautiful landscape to just like go.
To just go and rest. I think like this last year too, I've had to do a lot of self-reflection on parts of myself that like I don't like and I want to change and I want to work on and develop. And like, you know, I think hard times in your life will bring out the worst in you. And you have to like make a decision. When the worst part of you comes out, what do you do with it? Like when you meet your shadow self, like what do you do with that? Do you talk to that shadow self and figure out why they're existing in the way that they are?
Or do you excuse it?
Or do you excuse it and do you move on and you don't apologize for the damage that has been done?
Yeah.
Like there's two different paths. And it's like, you know, coming out of this year, like I've made a lot of mistakes personally. And I have had two choices. Like, do I dive into like why those things happen and like what is causing it and what in my background, like would I be, you know, pulling from to like do that?
Yeah.
Or do I just ignore it? And like,
what do I need to release?
Exactly.
To
there's been so much
grow.
Yeah. There's been so much that I've needed to release and like things that I didn't even really like know existed. So, but that is like, that's a gift to be able to do that, in my opinion. Like if the universe is allowing you to learn lessons still, that tells me like something out there, something in the spiritual realm, whatever you believe in, gives a fuck.
Yeah.
And is trying to like help you be on the right path. Yeah. So like I haven't been like upset by it. It's just been like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I need to learn this.
Frankly, if you've hit a wall in your life where you're like, I'm perfect and I don't need to improve or grow or do anything, you might need to look in the mirror and realize that you might be the problem. If things are going wrong, we need to start thinking about it. Sometimes things just happen, but like there's always room for growth.
Yes.
There's always room for
improvement. And
growth
is beautiful.
It is.
It is.
It's literally to me, it's the whole point of being a human.
Exactly.
It's like
it is the human experience. Yeah.
And caring for others.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Love it.
Ah,
it's great.
Heart to heart.
Heart to
We
heart.
love you guys.
We love you guys. We're super excited
so glad you're here.
Future episodes.
This season is just meant to be, I think you were saying like last season was kind of here's the high level overview. Here's things that we're interested in. We also gave you details about very traumatic and intimate parts of our lives. Like we got really, really open, legged, if you will. And we're still doing that this season.
Yes,
like we are talking about stuff. I think we're just being super candid about a lot of things that have happened. And the biggest thing is also what we've gone through, what we've learned, the takeaways from everything that's happened.
Yeah.
But also like wanting to share some resources with you all that we think are important, and wanting to provide a little bit more like educational content when it comes to that, like getting some more information. It'll be surrounding polyamory. It can be surrounding kink, and also like, where does kink come from? And what are, like, we've had some instances where it's like, okay, that's maybe not a healthy dynamic. Like, let's talk about that and why.
Yeah.
Opening up, like, talking about sex again too. Like, we've talked about it and talking about kink, but just like sex in general. It doesn't have to be kinky to be something that people are afraid to talk about. Yeah. So wanting to make sure that you all feel like you have a safe space to do it. You can DM us. You can talk to us all the time. We have people that DM us and tell us some serious shit.
Some very serious
please
shit.
And please feel like you can. Like, it's meant to be. Keep in mind, we're not professionals. We cannot give you therapy, guidance, or anything like that.
To the disclaimer.
We can, disclaimer up top. But like, that's the point of this. It's always been the point of this, is a little bit more access, a little bit more open conversation. We want you to share your stuff with us. We want to be able to share ours with you, and just cultivate a relationship. That's the plan.
We want to also, I think, expand a little bit on like the topics that we're discussing. Like, we had a lot of focus on like kink and polyamory in the first season, and again, like, we kind of touched on those things surface level, but like, I feel like, again, the heart and soul of this podcast is trying to talk about like number one, like taboo topics that like aren't discussed enough in like the mainstream, and also like relationships. Oh yeah. Like how we move through the world in relationships, and
especially as polyamorous, sex positive people.
Exactly. And so we want to kind of discuss like, you know, the duality of like what those experiences can look like from our lens, and then, you know, our guest lens. We're bringing on some really fucking cool people that like have different experiences than us, and like we want to share that with you guys, because we're trying to provide something relatable for everyone. We're also going to be providing more like just fun, like silly content. Yeah. We got to
get to know us.
Yeah. We're going to let you
know
guys
us on a certain level. Yeah. But we want you to like know us, because I feel like if you've been listening this whole time, if you listened to everything, you've kind of gathered that like Beth is like the calm, cool, chill, witchy girl
most of the time.
And I'm a fucking mess.
Chaotic bisexual energy.
Chaotic bisexual pansexual energy. Kind of a goofball, a little awkward. Like, you're the cool girl and I'm like your awkward sidekick.
That's not how I see us at all. Bridget said that. I don't see that.
But
I feel like a rabid like black cat most of the time. So
here's the thing. This is what I love, is that I feel like that's like what is perceived of us when people see. But we want you to know us a little bit more, because like Beth is a fucking goofball. Thoroughly. We were talking about her sitting in the corner being a rat the other day.
Eating cheese. I don't even eat cheese.
She's vegan. Like, stuff like that.
No,
but
I can get a little silly.
Yeah, we just want to have fun with you guys. We want you to have a fun time. We want you to feel like you're in the room with us. Yeah. The biggest compliment I've ever gotten was, I missed you and I wanted to feel like I was hanging out with you and Beth, so I put the podcast on.
I love that.
And that's what I want for you guys to feel like.
We're going to be like also including more content on our Instagram and social media, like TikTok, all of that. That's not just exclusive to clips of the podcast. Like, we're, again, to Bridget's point, we're going to be doing some things that like let you in a little bit to our day to day. So we're super excited for that. Keep following us, keep updated.
Yeah. Talk to us. We want to hear from you.
Yeah. You guys don't be scared to interact. I think that that's another thing that I would say about last season is like, you know, we got some interaction, but like, we want people to feel like they can literally like respond. Yeah. They can make requests. We want you guys to know you can make requests for like certain topics. Even if we don't spend a whole episode talking about something,
we'll touch on it.
We'll touch on it for sure. Yeah.
Please. We've gotten some requests and we'll be touching on those this season. Yeah. So it'll be good. So, so please feel like you can ask us anything and we can touch on that or respond directly. It's us. We're on the other side of that. So we'll talk to you. Yeah. And also just like support. Everybody's been so supportive and wonderful and outspoken, and it's been wonderful. And the easiest and cheapest way to support us is just by sharing. Yeah. tell people that you really like our podcast and you want them to listen to it, or share our page with somebody, or share a post because you really liked it, or you thought it really spoke to you. That's always the most helpful. And we want to be able to keep making this kind of content and talking to you guys. And that's what we love. So we just enjoy what we're doing. Support us.
Share, like, comment, interact. Like, honestly, just interaction in general is what we're looking for. So.
And if you're in DFW and you see us out, come fucking say hi. We've had some people that were like, oh, hey, we recognized you, but I didn't come up to you and say anything because I was afraid to. And I was like, but why?
Especially if we're at the lesbian bar, like, please. I probably had like 5 tequila shots at that point, and I'm going to be so happy to see you.
I may gay panic if you're like super hot and I may say something really stupid to you, but then I'll like spicy trauma about it later. So you'll get a feature.
Also, just a quick side note, like, we are polyamorous, so you can flirt with us.
Oh, please.
Please flirt with us.
Yeah.
We love it.
Beth is just scary, and I'm just kind of like...
Brigitte gay panics. It's really hard to make me gay panic. If you do it, like, I'll give you a fucking medal.
Impressive.
But, like...
Maybe a lap dance, too, so...
Exactly. And if that's the prize, why would you not try? Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited.
Hell yeah.
It's time for Spicy Trauma.
Each week, we like to wrap up with our spicy trauma.
Tell us your spicy trauma. DM us or use the link in our bio to share your story.
Okay, so spicy trauma. This one is like not super like personally traumatic, but like for the person involved, it was definitely traumatic. So I'm going to tell it anyways. Okay. So you'll get it when you hear it. So recently, my wife and I have taken like a little, I forgot to say this in the update. We've taken a little bit of a pause on like.
A polypause?
A polypause, exactly. and that's totally valid. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the polytypes episode. But we took a little bit of a pause for a while on like doing anything E&M or poly related just because of personal things that were going on. We really wanted to like focus on each other and all of that. So recently we like reopened that door and we're talking to a girl, and so it was something we were exploring together, and as mostly just like a sexual experience, not anything like more than that. It's somebody that we had matched with on a dating app and like had on social media since like January and up until recently, and finally like re-engaged, and we're like, hey, like if you're still down to hang out, like let's hang out, whatever. We go on a date with this girl. It goes amazing.
Woohoo.
You know, we talk to her and we're like in the middle of moving and all of the shit. So it's like a couple of weeks before we can actually set up a date for her to come over. Because first date was very like PG. Second date, we were like, might be R-rated, like you never know. And so we have this date scheduled for a Friday. I post something on my close friends story on a Tuesday. And I'm like going through my close friends list because it was something I didn't want everyone to see, right? So I was like going through my close friends list. And I'm like looking at everybody on there, making sure that like I'm cool with everyone seeing it. I scroll down to the bottom of my close friends list, and that girl that we had matched with is suggested to add to my close friends, but she's not on there. And I was like, that's so weird, because like I knew I had her on my close friends. Mm-hmm. So then I stopped sharing what I'm sharing. I go to her profile and I'm like looking at it to like re-add her to my close friends list. And I'm like, wait, we're not even following each other.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. So like I look, and then I look at her followers and I realize she unfollowed my wife too. And my wife isn't following her either. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like we literally spoke about hanging out this Friday, like last week. Like I don't know what could have happened or what could have changed or whatever. And more than anything, I'm just fucking curious, because like I'm the type of person that like I need answers. Like if something weird happens, like I'm like, give me answers.
You can't ruminate.
No, I'm like, I'm too OCD for this. I'm going to think about it for days. Please just fucking tell me. So I like text my wife because they're downstairs, and I'm like, baby, this girl, like, we're not following her anymore. She unfollowed us. Like, what the fuck? It's not even just that she unfollowed us. She removed us from her followers. So I'm like, there's something about us following her that like, I think she doesn't want someone to see, or like something happened. Like, I don't know what it is. So me and my wife were like going back and forth. We're like, what the fuck could have happened? Whatever. I call my sister And I'm like, hey, this is the scenario. What do you think happened? My sister's lost. She's like, I don't know. Maybe like someone got jealous or something. I don't know. I was like, I don't think she's dating anybody. So I don't know. And then I call my sister-in-law. Same thing. She's like fucking confused. So I'm like, I literally can't handle this. I'm going to have to ask her in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, I was like, let me just see if she's still coming on Friday before we ask her, because I'm like,
she might ghost us.
Like, she literally might just ghost.
Yeah.
And I kind of expected that. And then, but I was like, but she's so fucking cool and did not seem like the type. So I was like, this doesn't like line up with like who I know her to be.
The math ain't mathing.
The math ain't mathing. Yeah. So I texted her in our group chat in the morning and was like, hey, are we still down for Friday? And she responds and she's like, yeah, I wouldn't miss it. So then I'm like,
so you're also like, the question mark just got bigger.
The plot thickened. What? So then I'm like, wait, okay, we have to ask her because like she's still coming. So I asked my wife and I'm like, do you want to message her or do you want me to? And my wife's like, I'll just message her on Instagram. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
So my wife messages her and is like, basically just like, hey, like, I realize we're not following each other anymore. Like, is there something wrong? Or like, what happened? Yeah. So we get a group text an hour later and she's like, guys, I'm so sorry. I looked into why we're not following each other anymore. The guy that I've been hooking up with hacked into my phone, saw our messages, and removed you guys. You literally just yawned. And she's like, story time on Friday, which this was last night, by the way. So I got the tea last night. So when she gets here, like we talk or whatever, and I'm like, girl, like tell us what happened. Like what is this man's problem? And she was
why
like,
are men?
She was like, I'll actually show you. She was like, he had followed you and your wife for a little bit. And then she shows me the profile and I recognize this guy. He was like all up in my stories, whatever. And she was like, and then he unfollowed you guys because he realized that he wasn't going to be able to be a part of it.
You have to show me who this is afterwards.
I will. I'll show you. He's a fucking, like, again, MMA fighter. So I'm like, douchebag central. Anyways, she was like, yeah, she was like, he asked me, well, we're not exclusive. So I like told him that. And he was like, well, if I'm not involved, then like, I don't want you seeing them. I don't want you talking to them.
No. Hard pass.
And I was like,
immediate no.
Gross.
Red flag.
Absolute red flag. So anyway, so I ended up blocking him. My wife blocked him. Like, it's done. But I was just like, she said he tried to literally download all of her messages.
That's weird. That's controlling.
It's giving.
I don't care what your dynamic is. That's controlling.
Yeah.
You're not exclusive.
No.
That has not been discussed
Even
or talked about.
if you are exclusive, that is such a breach of privacy.
Yeah. I bet he's a one penis policy.
Oh, 100%.
I bet he's an OPP.
Yeah. 100%, because he probably thinks that, like, you know, everyone is better than him. Me and my wife were like, what is he so scared of?
Oh, please.
I'm like, I would be intimidated too, bitch.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, not exactly traumatic for me, but definitely for her. And also, like, that could have fucked up what she had with us. Like, he was actively trying to fuck with it. And I was like, don't let somebody do that to you. Like, men are not worth it, I promise.
Oh, God.
So anyways, yeah, that's my spicy trauma.
I can't wait to hear where that goes. Maybe there will be a part 2 spicy trauma update on all of them.
There might be.
Because it sounds like there might be.
She did tell me this morning that she left her glass dildo here on purpose so she would have to come back.
Oh, no. Must have, because you need an excuse to come back. Okay, darling.
I was like, you were going to come back anyways. Like, all right, okay.
Sweetheart.
Yeah.
You don't need an excuse, baby girl. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. I wouldn't consider mine all that spicy or traumatic. I think it's more of an interesting thought that I've had recently.
Oh, God.
So I was like, I was reminded of a scenario that happened to me back in college. And I'm convinced that it plays a very large part in my whole, like, switch tendency. Which sounds so weird to say considering the context of this story. So I was working at theater. I was an assistant stage manager at a theater. And my wallet got stolen at this theater.
Okay.
And I thought it was like somebody in it. And it had occurred to me that I had seen a random man open like the back, like stage door, and was like in the area that it was in and leave like earlier in the evening. But like, I thought he had just like opened a door and was like, oh, I'm in the wrong place and left.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. Like, that's kind of what it looked like. It finally occurred to me that this man was likely the one who stole my wallet. Like, he probably walked in, grabbed my wallet, and as he was walking out, I happened to see him, which like, should have run that fucker down and figured out. But of course, not firing at that time. Like I was getting ready for a show. Of course, I'm in college at this time. That wallet has my ID and all of my money. Yeah. And I was working with a credit union at the time. So like my credit union didn't exist in this state. Right. Like I was SOL, like on everything with this. Like fuck. He just took everything. Which, mind you, I'm like a broke college student. It's not like I have that much going on. You have to have my PIN number to do it. Like something.
He fucked you over for no reason.
Literally fucked me over for no reason. I maybe had $40 in cash and like a gift card with 75 cents in it to Target. Like, okay. Yeah. Like honestly, the wallet cost more than what I had in it. Yeah. It was like $120 stupid Ted Baker wallet. Like, like it was like one of those. So I am driving back to campus, very upset about it. Cause like, what am I going to do? Call the cops? They're never going to fucking find it. Like it's gone. It's gone. Yeah. It's not even worth their time to them. Driving back to campus and I look down this one road and who the fuck do you think I see walking down that road?
That man?
That man.
What?
With a case of beer.
Your $40 went to beer?
Yes. With a case of beer. He's walking down the road. I, being the dumbass that I am, instead of being like, oh, I should like just go home and not worry about it, I pulled down that road and I stop and I'm like, hey, you're the guy I saw earlier. You took my wallet, didn't you? And he's like not talking to me. He like ignores me and he goes up to this house on a dumpster and puts something on it and like walks around the corner and starts like drinking his beer. And I like go up to it to look at what it is because I'm like, what the fuck did he do? Like, did he put like my debit card up there? Like, because at least like I'll take that. Like, I'll take that and my ID. Like, everything else can go. If you just give me that shit, I'll leave it be. Because I was just like, did you? It doesn't say anything. I go up to it. It's my fucking Target gift card.
That's the only thing he wanted to give you back?
It's the only thing he apparently had. Okay.
Wait,
so,
what?
Hold, please. Yeah. So and I'm like, oh my God. So I go over and I'm talking to him and I'm like, dude, like, okay, so obviously you stole my wallet because you're realizing guilt and you recognize me and that's my fucking Target gift card. Where is the wallet? Where is my ID? Where is my debit card? Like, that's what's important to me. And he was all like, oh, you know, I threw them away. And I was like, you're an idiot. Like, you have to be so dumb right now. And I was like, you need to tell me where they are. Like, you need to tell me where they are right now so I can go get them. Like, did you just dump them in a dumpster? Where's the dumpster? Like, I can go to the dumpster and get it out of the fucking dumpster. I don't care. Like, where the fuck are they? And he's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. And he's drinking his beer. And I'm like, well, if you don't tell me where my shit is, I'm going to call the cops on you. Because now I know. And like, and he's like, no. Like, don't call the cops. Don't call the cops. In the meantime, a lady comes out of this house and she's like, what's going on? And I was like, I was like, do you know this guy? Because he stole my wallet from a place that I was working. And I recognized him because I saw him. He's got a case of beer. So clearly he used my $40 to go buy beer. He just left this on and he can't tell me where any of my other stuff is. And she starts screaming for her husband who is inside. This guy is his buddy that just got out of jail and is now on probation. And he has been letting him sleep on their fucking couch. Right? So of course the guy's like, please don't call the cops. I'll show you where it is. And I was just like, okay. And I'm like, because the guy was like, oh, like, you know, he deserves a second chance. And I was like, he got out of jail and immediately stole something from somebody. And his wife is like, he's out. Like, he's not fucking staying here tonight. And this guy is just like, he's just like, oh God, look, I fucked up. Because who's to say that he hasn't been stealing shit from your house this whole time?
100%.
If he was willing to just go to some fucking theater and steal from a college kid, he's certainly been stealing shit from your home. So I'm like, you either tell me / show me where the rest of my shit is, or I call the cops on you. And so he's like, I want all of my stuff, all of my belongings, or I call the cops on you. And he's just like, okay, I'll show you. He, not the brightest bulb in the shed. God, not the brightest bulb on the tree. I'm not the brightest bulb in the shed, apparently. But he gets in my car. The fact that I let this man get in my car,
Bridget, this is
insanity. Okay?
The fact that you chased him down is crazy.
I chased him down, make him get in my car, and I'm driving him around to like the spots that he's saying. So it's like around a high school. He was like around a high school. He had thrown my ID somewhere on the high school. Couldn't find my ID anywhere because he had like thrown it somewhere on the property. Couldn't remember where it was. He had thrown my debit card in some other dumpster. right? And he was like, well, that was the dumpster. And I was like, okay, get the fuck in the dumpster then. Like, this is where I say, like, the whole, like, let me boss you around dom side comes into play. Because I'm standing there. I am like a 20-year-old college student in the car that I'm driving now, big old blue, with a fucking Maglite flashlight in my hand. Like, my dad gave me those because, like, if somebody comes at you, it's like bludgeoning them with a pipe. Yeah. Like, those things are intense. Like, if you don't have a gun, get a Maglite for your car. It's great. Kind of thing like that. But I'm holding that and he's like, well, can I use the flashlight? And I'm like, no, I'm going to beat you over the head with this. If you try some shit, this is my weapon. Yeah. You're the one who decided to go throw shit and now we're looking at it in the dark. You can go fucking figure it out. Like, so he gets in there. Lo and behold, we found my debit card. Amazing. And I'm like, okay, then like, let's go see if you can find my actual wallet because that is worth more than everything combined. Like, I didn't say that, but I was just like, you idiot. Couldn't ever figure out which dumpster. Like, he had to have been already out of his mind drunk to begin with.
I was going to say, I feel like this guy was already sloshed.
I feel like he was. And then he was drinking the beer. And I was like, well, fuck this. And I take him back to the house and I'm talking to the lady. And I'm just like, look, like, I was able to find my debit card. It's not that, like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I can go home and get an ID, but like, this was really messed up. Like, what would you prefer I do? And she was like, no, call the cops on him. She was like, I need you to call the cops on him. She was like, because I can't, because he didn't do anything to me, at least that I know of yet. But I'm going to be looking and seeing. And my husband then like deep shit. She was like, call the cops. So I did. I ended up calling cops. They took forever, mind you. Just so you know, these motherfuckers took like 4 hours just to show up, even though I was like, hey, I found the dude that stole all my shit. And like, he's sitting here and da-da-da-da-da. Which, it's so funny because this cop shows up and I tell him the story. I basically like, and
he's like looking aggressively,
was like, get in the dumpster, go find my thing, go. Like, I was just like, and I was just like, ooh, I'm driving. I need to do this more in my life. Like, I was feeling it. And he was just like, you did what? He was like, okay, apparently we need you on the force. And I was just like, obviously not, because you guys take too long and I got more shit done in an hour than you did in 4.
Literally 4 hours.
So stuff like that. And this guy, like, he had, because the lady was just like, he just sat there and he drank the rest of his case of beer. And I was like, you just broke your probation. You're going back to jail over fucking $40 worth of beer. You couldn't have asked your buddy for $40 for beer.
Sounds like he really didn't care.
He didn't. I just don't think he cared about anything, but like, that I think that attributes to my switchy like dom tendencies.
That's your dom femme.
That was like the first time that I'd ever been like, and I was like, I really enjoy bossing this man around. Yeah. Telling him to get on his knees in the dumpster.
I genuinely can't believe I've never heard this story from you, because this is such a Bridget thing to do.
I know. And it's psychotic. Not a lot of people know about it because like, if you think about it, like, I could have died that night.
Yep.
Something horrible could have happened to me, but I was so confident. I'm like, I'm strong. I will beat this man up and I will tell him what to do right now for my shit.
At least you got your debit card back.
I did get my debit card back. So yeah. And I got my ID back because he'd thrown it on a high school campus. One of the teachers found it and they mailed it.
That's so nice.
So I got my ID back. I just will never see that wallet ever again.
Damn.
It's in a landfill somewhere. Or maybe somebody went dumpster diving and got a really good wallet, so I hope that did happen. But
like, spreading it out is not going to make it harder for them to figure out who it did.
Who it did?
Who it did.
Who it did? Yeehaw.
And you can tell I'm glitching.
Who did it?
Who done it?
It's okay.
It was him. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
so not spicy or spicy trauma, really, of that.
It is though,
nature.
kind of. It is.
We'll start you off gentle because the rest of them get a little wild as we go throughout the season. But there's a little fun, stupid tidbit about my history and bossing men around.
I love it.
And it being something that I was like, I should do this more.
I should do this for a living.
Here we are.
Oh my God. Well,
yeah.
Thank you for that little spicy drop. I'm just really still processing it. Like, I haven't fully taken all of it in yet.
Well, while you process, thank you all for joining us for another episode of Trauma Bondage. We love the fuck out of you all.
Go forth. Do something spicy today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do something spicy.
You deserve it.
You do.
You do.
Be good.
Or don't.
We won't.
Yay.
If you like today's episode, follow us on social media at Trauma Bondage Pod. Follow Beth at Modern Day Lilith and Bridget at Your Faith Femme.
If voyeurism is your kink, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Trauma Bondage Podcast. Production by Instrumental Media. Special thanks to D. Dumpy and Wolfstar for music.